Hello, inner shifters, how you doing? Your host, Sophia here. Okay, let's pour a cup of something warm and talk about something that so often gets overlooked when we think about health: connection. Real heart-level connection. The kind that lights you up, softens your rough edges, and makes you feel less like you're carrying everything alone. Because when we talk about how socializing boosts mood and emotional well-being, we're not just throwing around fluffy feel-good ideas. We're talking about biology. We're talking about your nervous system. We're talking about the very things that remind your body and brain you are safe, you are loved, you matter. And I don't know about you, but sometimes I forget that. Not in a dramatic, sobbing on the bathroom floor way, though hey, we've all been there, but in those quiet little moments where I just retreat. Days when I've been too busy to text back, or convinced myself that no one's really thinking of me anyway. Those are the moments that loneliness creeps in. And loneliness, my friend, is sneaky. It wears 100 disguises. It doesn't always look like isolation. It looks like scrolling while you eat dinner, canceling plans because you're tired, going a full day without hearing your own laugh. And the truth, we all do it. But we don't have to stay there. I had a friend named Leo who used to describe himself as an independent loner. He wasn't antisocial, he just didn't think he needed people to recharge. But after a year of remote work, canceled vacations, and minimal social contact, he said something that really hit me. He said, "I didn't realize how much of my mental well-being came from casual hellos. The barista, the gym buddy, the neighbor he used to wave to." Without realizing it, those micro moments of connection were patching little holes in his mood every day. And when they disappeared, his stress grew louder. Science backs this up in the most beautiful way. When we connect with others, especially in warm, trusting ways, our brains release oxytocin, sometimes called the bonding hormone. Oxytocin decreases cortisol levels, which means your stress hormones drop. Your blood pressure lowers. Your heart rate steadies. You actually feel calmer, safer, more regulated. That's not just social fluff, that's neurochemical reality. And there's more. Positive social interaction triggers the release of endorphins, our natural mood boosters. A study published in Psychoneuroendocrinology found that people who felt socially supported had significantly lower levels of inflammation, which is linked to depression, anxiety, and chronic illness. A translation: connection doesn't just feel good, it protects you. My friend Clara, who has one of the gentlest hearts I know, once told me that when she's going through a hard time, she tends to isolate. She doesn't want to burden anyone. But one day, in the middle of a brutal season of grief, she answered a call from a friend instead of letting it go to voicemail. They didn't talk about anything heavy. They just reminisced about silly high school memories and laughed. And afterward, she said, "It was the first time I felt light in weeks." Not because her problems were solved, but because someone reminded her she still existed beyond the pain. And that's the key: socializing doesn't have to mean big parties or hours-long calls. Sometimes it's just presence, sitting next to someone, sharing a meal, sending a meme. Asking "how are you really?" and sticking around for the answer. These little moments send powerful messages to your brain: you are not alone. You are part of something. And that message ripples into your emotional well-being like sunlight on water. There's even research from Harvard showing that strong relationships are the biggest predictor of happiness over a lifetime. More than money, fame, or career success. The quality of your social connections, how safe, loved, and supported you feel, determines how fulfilled you are. It's not about how many friends you have. It's about how seen you feel. And when you're in a rough patch, socializing can be the lifeline that pulls you back to the surface. I remember my friend Sophia, one of the most self-sufficient people I know, texting me one day out of the blue, "I need to not be alone with my brain today." Coffee, we sat in silence for half the time. But the other half, we talked about everything and nothing. And at the end, she said, that saved me. It's not always about deep healing. Sometimes it's about not spiraling alone. You know what else I love? Laughter. Like real full-body, ugly face laughter. Because laughter with others releases a cocktail of serotonin and dopamine that boosts mood and builds connection. It's healing, it's bonding, and it's often free. One study found that laughing with others increases pain tolerance, not just emotional pain, but physical pain too. That's wild, right? Like your nervous system is saying, if we're safe enough to laugh, we're safe enough to let go. So what can we do with all this? We start small, we initiate. Even when it feels awkward. Even when we're tired. Because socializing doesn't require being bubbly or extroverted. It requires intentionality. Text the friend you've been meaning to check in on. Make a phone call on your walk instead of listening to another podcast. Smile at the cashier. Compliment the stranger's shoes. Let your humanness touch someone else's, even if just for a heartbeat. Jake, another friend of mine, set a goal last year not to meet new people, but to deepen the relationships he already had. Every Sunday, he picked one person to have a meaningful check-in with. He called them or invited them for coffee. Oh, that was it. By the end of the year, he said, I feel like I'm made of sturdier stuff now. Not because life got easier, but because I don't feel invisible in it anymore. And that's what I want for you, for all of us. To feel sturdy, rooted, seen. Life will knock us around. That's inevitable. But when we have people to sit beside us, laugh with us, grieve with us, celebrate with us, everything softens. So if today feels heavy, reach out. If today feels light, share it. If you haven't laughed in a while, seek it out. If you haven't been asked, how are you really, lately, ask it first. The well-being you're searching for might just be waiting in someone else's voice. And remember, your presence matters, your laugh matters. Your kindness and curiosity and warmth ripple further than you can see. So go have that conversation. Send that text, make that eye contact, choose connection. Again and again and again. Let's talk about something that quietly but profoundly shapes our health every day, often without us noticing. How strong social ties strengthen your immune system. It might sound surprising at first, but it's real, it's measurable, and it's deeply human. Because long before we had supplements or stress-tracking apps, we had each other. And our bodies remember that. Imagine this, your body at a cellular level responding to the warmth of a conversation, to the laughter of someone who gets you, to the steady presence of someone who knows your story. That's not poetic, that's physiological. And when we talk about detoxing your life or building a healthier one, social connection deserves a top spot on that list. Because it doesn't just feel good, it literally protects you. Let me tell you about my friend Mateo. He'd been struggling with a string of minor illnesses. Nothing major, just colds that lingered, fatigue that wouldn't lift, a scratchy throat that seemed to circle back every few weeks. He exercised, he ate well, he got his sleep. On paper, he was doing everything right. But something was missing. When we talked about what had changed recently, he paused and said, honestly, I haven't been around people. I've been working from home. I see my barista more than I see my friends. So he did a quiet experiment. Nothing elaborate. He scheduled weekly catch-ups, a walk with his cousin, Sunday lunch with his neighbor, phone calls during his evening walk instead of podcasts. Within 2 months, his energy started returning. The colds faded. He felt his words more alive again. And I don't think it was magic. I think it was biology doing what it's meant to do when it feels connected. There's a remarkable study from Carnegie Mellon University that found people with stronger social networks were less likely to catch a cold virus, even when they were directly exposed to it. The ones with deeper connection produced more robust immune responses. Why? Because connection lowers stress and chronic stress suppresses the immune system. The two are intricately linked. And this is where oxytocin comes back into the story, the love hormone or connection hormones. When you feel close to someone, whether physically or emotionally, your brain releases oxytocin. That hormone reduces inflammation, enhances wound healing, and improves immune regulation. It literally helps your body fight off illness better. So that hug you shared, that deep laugh with your sister, that unhurried chat with a friend on the porch, that's wellness. Oh, that's medicine. Clara, one of my favorite people to talk about, once went through a brutal spell of burnout. She was juggling 2 jobs, managing her dad's medical care, and trying to be fine all the time. But she kept getting sick. Colds, migraines, endless fatigue. She thought her body was breaking down. But during one rare afternoon off, she had tea with an old friend and cried for the first time in weeks. Cried and laughed and said things she hadn't said out loud. Afterward, she told me, "I don't remember the last time I felt that healthy." And that's when it clicked. Health isn't just physical, it's relational. Her immune system had been starved of connection. And what's wild, you don't always need hours or dozens of friends. Even a small circle can make a massive difference. A 2015 meta-analysis published in Perspectives on Psychological Science found that the impact of strong social relationships on mortality risk was comparable to quitting smoking, and greater than that of physical inactivity or obesity. Think about that. Your friendships matter as much to your long-term health as diet and exercise. That's not just lovely, it's urgent. Jake, a friend who lives alone and works remotely, set a simple goal at the beginning of the year: 1 meaningful interaction per day. Not just polite chit-chat, meaningful. An actual "how are you really?" And he tracked something he didn't expect. On the days he followed through, he slept better. His headaches were less frequent. His body felt less on edge. There's no blood test that can measure that, but it was real. And that's the thing about human connection, you don't always see the effects immediately, but your whole system knows when it's been nurtured. Of course, not all connection is healing. Toxic relationships can harm your immune system too. Prolonged conflict, chronic comparison, emotionally unsafe spaces, those keep your stress levels high, your cortisol elevated, your body in defense mode. That's why part of strengthening your immune system means being selective about where your energy goes. Not every social tie is medicine, some are noise. And detoxing from those, that's healthcare too. So if your body been feeling off, if your energy's low, or your nervous system feels stuck on high alert, ask yourself, when was the last time I felt genuinely connected? Not just around people, but real, honest connection. And if the answer is, it's been a while, no shame, no guilt. Just an invitation. You can begin again with a single call, a shared meal. A slow walk with someone you trust. And if that's not possible today, even writing a letter you don't send or listening to a voice message from someone you love can activate those same healing circuits in your brain. A connection is not a luxury. It's biology, it's protection. It's one of the most powerful things you can give your body today. Okay, let's lean into this next one because it's quietly powerful. How social connection helps reduce the risk of mental decline, especially as we move through the chapters of life. It's not just sweet or sentimental, it's protective. Your conversations, your shared memories, your laughter, your little daily interactions. They're all feeding your brain in ways that science is just beginning to fully understand. I remember my friend Clara telling me once, after having lunch with 2 of her oldest friends, I feel younger when I'm with them. Like my brain wakes up. And I think we've all felt that, haven't we? That mental clarity that comes from meaningful connections. It's not just emotional, it's neurological. Our minds are social by design. And when we don't use those social muscles, they weaken, they slow, they lose their spark. But when we engage, when we reflect and share and challenge and laugh, something extraordinary happens. We build mental resilience. Let's talk science because this is where it gets really exciting. The National Institute on Aging has conducted long-term studies showing that people with frequent social interaction maintain better cognitive function over time. Meaning, connection doesn't just feel good, it helps your brain stay good. Regular engagement with others challenges memory, attention, language, problem solving, all the systems we rely on to stay mentally sharp. And it's not just about keeping busy. It's about dynamic interaction, having conversations that make you think, tell stories, listen deeply, shift perspectives. It's the difference between scrolling through comments and having coffee with a friend who makes you belly laugh. One depletes, the other revitalizes. There's a particularly beautiful study published in the American Journal of Public Health that followed nearly 2,000 older women over 4 years. It found that women with the highest levels of social integration had a 26% lower risk of developing dementia. A 26%. That's not marginal, that's meaningful. And it's not tied to IQ, income, or education. It's tied to connection. My friend Leo volunteers at a local library teaching ESL classes. He once told me, "I don't just do this for them, I do it for me." I come home and feel like my brain just had a workout. Oh, he's in his 60s and sharp as ever. And when he misses a few weeks, I can feel the difference, he says. His thoughts slow, his energy dims. Connection is cognitive exercise. Even small talk matters. One study from the University of Michigan found that just 10 minutes of social interaction a day can improve executive functioning. That's your ability to organize thoughts, control impulses, juggle tasks. 10 minutes, that means chatting with your barista, asking your coworker about their weekend, calling your cousin just to say hi. These aren't throwaway moments. They are mental tune-ups. And the benefits aren't just for older adults. They start early. Children who grow up with strong, warm social support show better cognitive development. Teens who have safe spaces to talk through their emotions build stronger frontal lobes, parts of the brain responsible for reasoning and regulation. We are wired for connection from the beginning. It's the thread that keeps us cognitively whole. Now I know some seasons of life are isolating. Maybe you work remotely. Maybe your social circle has changed. Maybe life feels too loud and you crave solitude. That's okay, connection doesn't always mean crowds, it means meaning. Even one or two trusted people. Even writing letters you don't send. Even having deeper conversations with yourself through journaling. All of these, when done with intention, create the kind of mental engagement that preserves your clarity and depth. I once knew someone, Sophia, who lived alone in her 70s. She started hosting a memory circle at her community center. Each week, a few people would gather and share a story from their past. Childhood games, favorite vacations, old love letters. The stories came alive. And more importantly, so did they. Their recall improved. Their laughter returned. We're remembering ourselves back into being, Sophia said. I still think about that. So here's what I hope you take away. Your social life is not a side quest, it's central. It is as vital to your brain as hydration or sleep. Every time you ask a question, share a story, listen to someone else's ideas, you are protecting your future. You are nourishing your neural pathways. You are saying to your mind, stay awake, stay engaged, stay curious. So reach out. Talk about old memories, ask big questions. Say yes to the lunch invite, make the call. Let your mind dance with other minds. That's the kind of detox the brain craves. I thank you so much for listening to this podcast. Remember to like, follow, subscribe, and do all those lovely things you wonderful people do. I'll see you next time.